Hello guys, welcome back to A Page in the Chapter, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Paige and it is time for the first book haul of 2022! So I feel like first and foremost I need to mention the fact that you may hear a lot of wind sounds in the background. Storm Eunice has hit today and it is very strong winds, so I'm thinking you probably won't be able to hear it, but if the camera does pick it up then I do apologise. There's nothing I can do. This is literally the only day that I have to film, so. And then I'm also I'm not the biggest fan of doing book hauls. I feel like it spreads the wrong message. I would very much rather encourage you to, read the books you already have and not give in to capitalism, except I tend to give in to capitalism. Buying books is one of my favourite hobbies. I think I prefer buying books to reading books, and it gives me so much joy. So I have done quite a bit of book shopping in the first month and a half of this year, and I thought I would share those books with you. Hopefully you find some recommendations. Some of these I've read, some of them I have not, and I'm just so excited about all of these books and I wanted to share them with you. So if you guys like book hauls, or you like what you've seen so far, or you're looking for some more booktubers to follow, then do please feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below and stay tuned for future content. I upload twice a week on a Wednesday and a Friday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here for you to enjoy. And if you like this sort of content, then I have a whole playlist entitled Booktube Classics, where you can go and watch all of these classic Booktube staple videos in that playlist. Thank you guys for watching this video. I do hope that you enjoy, and now let's get into the books. So these aren't going to be in an order, but because I know that I bought these two first, I will just talk about them first, and I've already talked about them a bunch, so I just don't want to dwell on it too much, and that is These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends, the duology by Chloe Gong. I purchased both of these books in January. I then read them both in January. They were my first two reads of the year, gave them both 5 stars, absolutely adored both of them. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in 1920s Shanghai, which follows Roma and Juliet trying to track down a monster that is killing hordes and hordes of people, and it's imbued with socio-political history and all kinds of amazing wonderfulness. Chloe Gong absolutely outdid herself. These books are absolutely amazing. Highly recommend them if you want some YA fantasy romance, which is usually the only thing that I'm in the mood for, so I do recommend. The next books that I then picked up were A Touch of Darkness, A Touch of Ruin, and A Touch of Malice by Scarlett Sinclair. This is a Hades and Persephone smutty retelling, following Hades and Persephone in a world entitled New Athens, where the gods are known to exist, they walk among the people. They are still gods, but they are more like major celebrities, and when Persephone decides that she wants to write a scathing article about Hades, she's accidentally locked into this deal with him, and then over the course of this deal they fall in love. So I thought this was a trilogy. It is not. There is a 4th book coming out in a while, and the 3rd book ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, so I'm really annoyed about that. I have again spoken about my experience of reading these 3 books and blogged most of the experience as well, so I again don't want to dwell on it too much. Essentially, I went into this book for the romance. I went into these books for the romance, and I did very much get a romance out of it, but this series is really, really weak as a fantasy. The world building is atrocious and there are so many flaws, but in terms of good old tension, smutty fun, this is it. I really, really enjoyed it. It's just objectively as a whole book, it's not great, but if you just want something really fun and light that's gonna have you on the edge of your seat waiting for them to do it, this is the book. And I will say that by the 3rd book, the fantasy is much stronger. A lot of work goes into this series to make it much stronger, and it does kind of get there. I feel like it maybe wasn't intended to be a series to start with, but yeah. I did then buy these 3 books next. I actually purchased this book when I purchased Our Violent Ends, and then I reached the 100-page mark of this book and binge ordered these two so that they would arrive as soon as I finished this book. And now we are into the books finally that I actually haven't read yet, so I can talk about these a little bit more. So next we have Girl, Serpent, Thorne. I kind of saw this book around on the booktube community a while ago. I think it had a really pretty Fairy Loot, Owl Crate, Illuma Crate. One of those big book subscription boxes had a really stunning edition of this book, and so it was kind of going around, and I was in Waterstones and I saw it on their buy one get one half price little table, and I thought, yeah, now is the time to pick up this book. And the cover itself is still like stunning. So this follows our main character, and she is a princess, but she is cursed so that everyone she touches is poisoned and dies. She's literally like herself is poisonous. So she has spent her whole life hidden away from everyone in her family. She's just kept locked up in her little room / garden so that she cannot kill everyone she touches. And when the palace guards manage to capture a demon and bring him in, our main character finally has the chance to get rid of the curse that has been placed on her. However, this kind of takes her on an adventure that leads her to all kinds of questions about herself and her own morality, and she's forced to kind of question, is she actually a demon herself? And this just seems like a really fun book. It has a really pretty cover, really like cool twist on a classic kind of fairy tale idea, and not only is this like a pretty floppy paperback, it's not the floppiest of paperbacks I've ever seen, but it'll do. Also a really short book, shorter than I was expecting. 310 pages long, so much shorter than your classic YA fantasies. And honestly, I'm really excited to get into this. I believe, as far as I'm aware, this is a standalone, but I haven't done much research into it, so I do not know that for sure. Fantasy standalones are really difficult to find, and if this is one, then it's just another point in the pro column, and I am just really excited to get into this. I think it's going to be a really fun, like, short one to help me get my Goodreads goal up, just in a really slow month, just a nice short fantasy book. Sounds incredible, so I kind of had to pick this one up. And then another book that I have purchased is The Girl in the Tower by Katherine Arden. This is the sequel to The Bear and the Nightingale. Again, I am trying to make an effort to finish more series or continue with more series this year, and so when I saw that they actually had this book, I had to pick it up. I feel like basically any time I go into a bookstore and I'm looking for a certain book in a certain series, they have all the other books in the series except for the one I'm looking for, so I took them having this as a sign and I purchased it. So the first book follows our main character Vassia, and she can see spirits and ghosts and things. She's in this very, very small pagan town in northern Russia, and everyone in this village is kind of turned against Christianity and believes in these spirits. However, when Christianity does come knocking and the people turn more towards Christianity and salvation by God, they turn their back on these pagan spirits, and that kind of leaves them open to all kinds of dangerous spirits and things that could come after the village. And it is about our main character Vassia holding true to her beliefs despite her whole village like them turning on her and thinking she's a witch, and trying to save those people. And so this is the continuation of that, except this book I believe is set in Moscow and not in this northern Russian village, and I think follows a little bit more of Vassia's family members. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm really, really intrigued to see where the story goes. Again, this is a much shorter book than the last one. It is, again, like very similar to Girl, Serpent, Thorne, just over 300 pages. And I'm just in the mood for some shorter books right now, so I'm really happy that I picked this one up and I found it. I then picked up Under the Whispering Door by TJ Cloone. I just feel like I've spoken about this one so much as well. I've heard so much about TJ Cloone. Everybody raves about House of the Cerulean Sea. I had the option of picking up both, but this one just seemed a little bit more up my alleyway. It's about this little tea shop in between life and death, and when our main character dies and is forced to accept the fact that he is dead, he decides that rather than crossing over, he's going to spend all of his time in this little tea shop. And by watching people come in and out of this tea shop, he realizes that he didn't really live his life to the fullest. And so when he's given a second chance, he decides that he's going to live an entire lifetime in just 1 week. It seems so cutesy, so heartwarming, perhaps like kind of just gonna make me cry a little bit, you know, one of those type of books. Kind of a bit like A Man Called Uwe, where it's just so cute and sweet that it makes you cry. I feel like this could be that vibe. it's death, it's a tea shop. Like, this book just kind of had everything, more so than House in the Cerulean Sea did. And when I went into the bookstore, the only thing I was really looking for was TJ Cloone. I had no idea which one I wanted to go for. I just knew that I wanted to give this author a try. And this one is quoted by V.E. Schwab, an Insta-Buy author for me, one of my favourite authors of all time. It does have an irremovable sticker, but again, it's by V.E. Schwab, so I might forgive the publishers for that one. So I've seen some people talk about this one. It was on a lot of really highly anticipated releases videos later last year, mid to late last year. However, I haven't seen as many people talk about this book since in the way that people talk about House in the Cerulean Sea, so I kind of just want to like get my teeth into this one and see what's going on, you know. Is this one not as good? Am I going to be disappointed by this? I have put it on my 5-star predictions, so I really hope not. I'm just hoping for really cutesy man called Uwe type of vibes, and yeah, I have really, really high hopes for this one. Do pray for me that I enjoy it. The penultimate book that I would like to share with you is one that is a series or a duology. It's more than one book, so unfortunately I will not be allowing myself to read this one anytime soon because I've got to make some progress on my series. But I saw it and I'm going to explain to you why I had to have it at that exact moment. And so the next book is Serpent and Dove. This is a witch and a witch hunter fake dating, guys. Like, you couldn't expect me to not pick this book up, especially when it was in the buy one get one half off offer at Waterstones. So I really went with a serpent theme on this particular shopping trip. But oh my god, I mean, this book is really beefy. It's got really thick pages though, and the writing isn't like absolutely tiny, and it's got really large margins, so I don't think it's as big as it looks, but oh my god, this book just sounds amazing. Again, this is another one that is quite a popular book. It's done quite well for itself. I see people talking about it, so again, it gives me high hopes. I will just read the blurb to you. Bound as one to love, honour or burn, a witch and a witch hunter thrust into holy matrimony. There was only one way such a story could end. A stake and a match. Like, come on, it's fake dating, it's marriage of convenience, it's fake marriage. It's a witch and a witch hunter, it's fantasy romance, and not only is it fantasy romance, it's YA fantasy romance. Like, it has absolutely everything I could possibly want from a book, and I had to own it. I don't know when I'm gonna get to this book, but I really, really want to read it, and I might have to get rid of my whole series thing, but I just can't do that because I do need to make waves on my series. But oh, I don't know, maybe this can be a little reward for myself if I do actually make a lot of progress. But this book seems amazing. How have I gone so long without knowing what Serpent and Dove is about? Like, I have seen the cover, I've seen like the sequel, Blood and Honey, like spoken about a lot more, but I've seen this around so much, and why did nobody tell me that it's witch and a witch hunter fake dating? I like did a little happy dance and a squeal in Waterstones, and now I own it. And I'm super, super happy about this book. I'm a happy gal. The final book. Like, come on, you guys already know what this one is because you know I've pre-ordered it and you've seen everyone else on the internet talking about this book because the week that I'm filming this was release week. House of Sky and Breath, Crescent City Book 2 by Sarah J. Maas. Oh my god, it's here. It's actually here. It's out. It's been pre-ordered for an eternity and it's actually out. I do have the Waterstones exclusive. I kind of regret buying the Waterstones exclusive because I don't think it actually has anything different about it. It has like some extra chapters at the end, but they don't actually like contribute to the storyline or anything. It seems a bit pointless to me. The inside cover is incredible. I don't have anything on the front though. I think again that was a different edition you could buy, had some embossing on the front, but I do not have that. I also sadly, despite pre-ordering, don't think I have a first edition. I don't know though, because I don't actually know how to tell unless the book says this is a first edition, which it does not say. Reading the little like book code, when I googled that it said if there is a 1 in the code then it is a first edition. I do have a 1 in the code, but the code also starts with a 2. So I don't know if I have a first edition or a second edition, and I'm a little sad about that because I did really want a first edition. I don't know why it mattered or why I wanted it, but I just did. Crescent City Book 1 was my second favourite book of 2021. It was my favourite book of 2021 until it was very narrowly beat out by Malibu Rising, which I read in like July, and I read Crescent City Book 2 in January. It was my second book of the year, so it held its own for a really long time, and I have never been the biggest fan of Sarah J Maas, but Crescent City Book 1 just kind of had me in this chokehold. So I'm really nervous to go into this because I think there's going to be a love triangle, and we know how I feel about Sarah J Maas's love triangles. They are always flat and dead and just... I was deeply in love with this person, but now I'm deeply in love with another person. You know, like, they really annoy me. But I think it could potentially work. I don't know. I feel like she set herself up to do this in a way that I won't hate. Maybe? I don't know. I'm so scared. But anyway, you must know what Crescent City is about because everybody talks about it. But I'll catch you up briefly. So Crescent City is an urban fantasy set in a world where all of these different types of mythical creatures belong to different houses in society, and these houses essentially just make up different political factions. That's essentially what they are. So our main character is half fae, and so she only is like a half citizen basically because she's half human and half fae, but she has a lot of kind of protection because she is best friends with one of the most powerful werewolves in the werewolf faction. However, one day she goes over to her best friend's house and she finds her best friend and all of her friends' werewolf clan murdered by a demon, and so she has to go on the hunt for this demon with a fallen angel named Hunt, ironically. So that's the brief synopsis. The book takes many, many twists and turns. It is like, this is a beefy book. The first book was really beefy as well. It's a whole thing. You kind of just have to read it. I can't catch you up on all of it. I would be here all day. But I'm really excited to see what happens in this book. I have heard that the ending is like, wow. I mean, I've seen some tweets, non-spoilery tweets about the ending, but I don't know if it's like a cliffhanger type ending or a soul crushing, I'm gonna cry about this kind of ending. I have no idea. We'll see what happens, but I'm so excited to have this. It's finally here. I don't know when I'm gonna read it because it's just so big. Honestly, guys, I was never one for pre-ordering, but the excitement and the happiness of knowing that it was release week for this book and I didn't have to worry about trying to get a copy or going out to get a copy, and all I had to do was like wait for it to turn up on my door. Game changer. I will always be pre-ordering now. This was so much fun. So yeah, I'm so happy about this. Here we have my book haul. I believe there's like 10 books in this list. Purchasing 10 books between New Year's and the 18th of February when I'm currently filming is quite impressive. I'm not usually a massive book buyer. I mean, I am, but I feel like this is particularly bad of me. I will be doing some more book shopping next week. I've also just realised I maybe shouldn't have filmed this so early. I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video, that you have found a book that you are interested in reading, that it was just fun to hear about my bank account and the mess that I've made of it. I don't know. I like watching book hauls. Hopefully you do too. If you guys did enjoy this video and you would like to see more, then do please feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below and stay tuned for future content. I'm just really loving content creation right now, and I'm really loving reading again and just being back in the book community. I'm just having such a fantastic time right now. If you guys want more behind the scenes of what I'm reading, or you want to choose what I read next, then do please feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Page and Chapter, where you have a lot more control over my reading and thus the content you will see on this channel. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, you are enjoying everything that you are reading, and that you have the money to buy all of the books that you want to, and I will see you for my next video. Bye guys.